What's up, everybody? I think I'm live. Welcome to Void Jumpers. That's better. Okay, how's everybody doing tonight? Very excited to be here with you. I'm Jesse Keeter, your diviner and host. I'm supposed to say some stuff here. Let me just look at it. Yes, welcome to our limited run of Void Jumpers, Sand and Flame. We just have a couple episodes left, so we're trying to figure out what exactly this story is and where it's going to end up. And the players are really driving that. And they are able to do so because the rule set we'll be using is an incredibly elegant game designed by Jeremy Strandberg, and it is called Homebrew World. We're going to drop a link to that in chat. Definitely check it out. It is exceptional if you like story and character-driven RPGs. It is, of course, based on, as so many of these wonderful games are, powered by the Apocalypse and Dungeon World, just streamlined to make it accessible and fun. But that's it from me. Happy Friday. Let's bring in the cast. Cheers, suckers. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Hello.
Great.
Great.
Ready
Okay.
to not be tempted.
Yeah, good luck.
Again.
It's
every
set
week.
this in motion, man.
God damn it.
Okay, now that everybody's here, I'm just going to kick us over to our cool little thing, and then we're going to drop into the game. So, to all of you out there in the streamverse, welcome to Void Jumpers. Okay, last week, our heroes decided to test the boundaries of their employment in more ways than one. Upon encountering everyone's favorite character, Chambeline, at breakfast, Waz and Dill noticed he was looking unwell and decided to follow up. After a series of magical mishaps in the basement laboratory, they discovered Chambeline had been using blood magic and was in some way connected to the kidnapping of the summoner. This led to the discovery of the Dark Anchor, which had been installed in the spellbook upstairs, an extremely powerful heirloom which had been in the summoner's family for generations. The very same spellbook that Chloe, with a little help and a little distraction from Dill, stole and cut in half. They did destroy the dark magic anchored there, luckily for her, and therefore Stellar, the summoner in waiting, did not flip her wig. Waz added to this when he tried to use Charm Person on Stellar, again testing the wig flip and being given a very, very stern warning. Chloe was tasked to keep an eye on Waz in case he was in fact a traitor. After asking nicely, Dill was granted the opportunity to examine the spellbook herself, in case they had missed any clues that had been hidden inside. And we left off in the laboratory basement with Waz and Vico as they went to investigate the whereabouts of Chambeline. However, at the back of the basement, they found a secret tunnel, which had very recently been covered in blood. I think that about wraps it up. Did I forget anything?
My name's Cleo.
Yep.
It's an honest mistake. It's not like I remember Chamberlain.
Cleo Snook. See, I like calling you Snook, but everybody else was calling you Cleo, so I decided to be a nice guy and call you the wrong name.
Okay. Snook works.
Besides getting your name wrong, did we cover everything? I do remember that somebody had a crush on somebody else.
Really?
And refresh my memory, Vico.
Yeah.
At the very top of that episode last week, you had a private moment with Waz. Wrapped up like a mummy, you went and knocked on his door in the very early morning. What exactly did you guys talk about? I remember that it was tense, but I could not recall the exact conversation.
I wanted to get our story straight, so I didn't do
Okay. Well, let's roll a dice. Vico,
Yeah.
odds or evens?
Let's go with even.
All right. I rolled a 1. We're going to start in the throne room. Dill.
Yes.
Stellar, who, if we recall, is recently shredded by the explosion of glass that came when Cleo cut the book in half. As is Headmaster Tantalonium, who was joining to investigate, your old professor and the
Yes.
headmaster of the academy you graduated from. And you and Cleo are both also shredded from this explosion of glass. But Stellar has pushed open a little drawer, pulled out a pair of white linen gloves, and handed them to you so that you might look at the spellbook. What would you like to do?
I think that I just, graciously walk up to it and hover my hand over for just a moment. And then I look over at Snook, and I just check in with her to see if she thinks that this is still a good idea, as my hand starts to kind of shake. Well, should I touch it or not, girl?
I can't hear you, Cleo.
You're asking me.
I see a deep wisdom within you. And before I touch this and possibly burst into flames, what do you think?
think no risk, no reward. Go for it.
All right. Well, if I die, will you please tell Waz that I really did think that something could have been magical between us, if you know what I mean. No pun intended.
Yes, but nothing's gonna happen. You're gonna be fine.
Okay. And then I like slowly lower it down and just like touch my fingertips on it and
Sure.
then just wait.
Even holding your hand above the book, you can just feel that it is permeating magic. And as you touch the cover, a jolt goes through you. It's very small, but it just hits like all of your chakras in that kind of like very spiritual, very magical way. It does not seem to be a purely physical realm experience. And the little ripple of that goes through your mind. But that's the extent of it.
So that's it. Can I ask it questions?
Oh, you are welcome to examine the book. That's just what
Okay.
happens when you touch it.
And I touch it. Okay. So then I open it up and start kind of leafing through the pages, looking at all of the spells and kind of trying to like memorize them or just kind of get a impression. So later on when I'm talking to Waz, I can tell him that I actually looked in it and, you know, keep turning and turning and turning the pages until I can kind of get to like things that make sense to me. But for the most part, not much is making sense. I do see some like plants, but there's, you know, a lot in here that is way above what I've ever done because I never spent time with books.
Sure. Give me two different rolls. The first one's just going to be intelligence. So 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier.
Okay. So 6, 7. Oh, that's 6.
Okay. So that's going to be a failure for the intelligence. And then give me another roll, and this time use your wisdom modifier.
Okay. 2, 7, 8.
Okay. I think that those rules to me make sense. Okay, so it is as you say. Much of this book, it's not just a book of spells. It's a book of magical theory. You know, large portions of it are it's journaling, and it's just, you know, as the people who were in possession of the book at any given time over the course of generations were working on a spell that they just couldn't crack, or a theory that they just couldn't crack. They would spend time with this book and they would be making notes and they would be journaling about their experience, and sometimes a lot of their personal life spills into that. And then you'll turn the page and there's just nothing but mathematical equations and then star charts, and then you turn the page and there's like planetary alignment formulas and all of these crazy things, physics, astrophysics, like just all this stuff. And then you'll turn the page and then there'll be these diagrams and pictures, and that's when you click in. You can't seem to speed read the journal fast enough. You cannot decipher the equations that are written down, especially with that failure on the intelligence roll. But with the partial success that you get from the wisdom roll, every time you turn the page, there seems to be one family member in particular who's gone through the book and seems to be coming at magic much closer to how you're used to it. And it's almost like they've tried to find an alternate way to cast these spells. And they've drawn a lot of pictures and they're very good at it. And all of a sudden, you're able to start piecing through, like, oh, this must have been that equation. Oh, this must have been about those stars. And you can start to see how the magic that they're dealing with is so much larger than what you've been taught so far. That the magic contained in this book isn't about, like, the spells that are being discussed, they're not to do a single thing. They're not to shoot a fireball. There's a couple notes in the margins about that kind of stuff, or some consequences of some actions that were happened. But for the most part, these spells are designed to open oneself up to the essence of magic and use that to tap into the possibilities therein. And so these spells are more about channeling your focus, harnessing power, storing power, putting that into special items, using things like batteries or containers. And it's just like this vast study of these really weird theoretical practices of magic. And it looks like they've cracked it several times across the ages. Give me one more wisdom roll. This one with advantage.
Ooh. With advantage? Okay, so I add one.
You get to roll 3 dice, get rid of the lowest.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I've got a 5, a 4, and a 3, so 9.
Yeah, and then what's your wisdom modifier? 2?
2 plus 2.
So that's an 11. That's a full success.
Nice.
That will do it. So you get to the point where Cleo cut the pages out of the book, and you can see clearly that there don't really appear to be any more clues in this, because the way that those pages were drawn were in like undrying blood, and they had very distinct symbols that stuck out from everything else that you've seen here. But in the time it takes you to get to that part of the book, while you cannot unlock any of this particular spells, you do begin to get a basic understanding of what it is that this family was going for. And you're actually going to unlock a new spell to add to your list.
Okay.
It's from something it's a very catch-all scenario. I think it'll have more narrative connotation than it will for combat, but it's just based on Monster of the Week's use magic. Because there's been several instances where you've tried to just like do something and your spellbook doesn't allow that. And
Yeah.
what these summoners are doing is trying to do that exact thing, where it's more of an improvisation, and the result is fueled by magic. So your brightest idea kind of creates the spell in the moment. And so you will be rolling it at disadvantage whenever you try to use magic until you've successfully cast it 3 times, full success.
Ooh,
So
okay.
just keep track of that.
Okay.
But that is what you learned from this book. We're going to jump to the basement. Waz, Bako, you are standing in a tunnel deep underground. Ahead of you, I believe one of you just cast a light spell. You can see that a couple 100 feet ahead of you, the floor, walls, and curved ceiling for at least 15 feet are just soaked in blood. What do you do?
I should have cut him more.
Why?
Because it would have been easier to clean the blood off of one surface than the entirety of the hallway.
Well, I mean, we're not going to go clean it.
No, but someone will have to. Bako moves
Yeah.
forward.
Okay. It takes you just a couple seconds, but you're able to stride in that very professional way that you have towards what's happening here. And when you get there, you can see that the blood is all wet and it is running down the walls and dripping onto the floor. And the floor itself is covered in pockets of gore. There are more substantial pieces here. And once you recognize that, you can see that there are, in fact, places where things are stuck to the walls and ceiling, and maybe some of the larger pieces have fallen down off of it.
Watch your step.
Watch your head.
As you look up, there's just like a right in front of you.
Vico keeps moving forward.
You into the grossness. It goes for about 15, almost 20 feet, and then on the edge of that thins out and then stops. Whatever this is, it's contained to about just about 20 feet a hallway. Where's your light coming from? Is it an orb or is it on something?
Shield. On my shield.
Okay, cool. So as Vico is looking around, you can see the light changing and the shadows here adjusting so that the movement in the blood takes on this very strange quality.
I'll be behind him, following him, but I will have lifted up the bottom of my robes, my very elegant, nice,
Okay.
jewel-laden robes. Do you think it was trying to escape and something blocked it that then made this big explosion?
I'm not making any assumptions right now, but this looked painful in some way, shape, or form.
Waz, why don't you try to discern realities as you are starting to think about what exactly it is that happened here?
That's intelligence.
Wisdom until you get that special skill. Anybody level up last time?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so wisdom.
8.
Okay. You may ask me one question from the list under discern realities.
That might be on a page I don't have up.
What happened here recently? What is about to happen? What should I be on the lookout for? What here is useful or valuable to me? Who or what is really in control here? What here is not what it appears to be?
What is here that doesn't, the last one? It doesn't appear to.
You start to try and get a better feel for what exactly is going on here. And because it is such a mess, the first thing you realize is there seems to be a bit more blood than you would expect from whatever it is you think happened here. And that blood is continually running down the walls. And as you follow that to the ground, your eye is caught by one of the larger chunks, and it is moving away from you, away from the palace, down the hallway. And you can see behind it, there is a trail from where this thing has slid, and it's probably about 7 feet of movement, and it is going very slow.
Do you see that?
See what?
There's the chunks. They're still trying to get out of here.
Just one.
Just one chunk. That chunk there. It's still trying to get out of here.
And it.
Should we follow it?
My reflex is to cut it.
But then we'd have 2 pieces to follow.
Do you have a jar of some kind?
No. I could run back and find one though, in the basement here, the wizard's basement.
You can put it in a jar and bring it to the others.
They're gonna just get pretty grossed out. Wait, wait. What if you cut if you cut it in half, I'll take one half and then the other half we can follow the other half if it leaves a trail.
That's just creating an additional nuisance.
But everyone
Or-
wins.
Or it runs the risk of one of them becoming inoperable, and then we have to follow a smaller piece.
I suppose so. Okay, I'll run back and get a jar. You don't let it out of your sight.
Holding the robes up and tiptoeing down the hallway, disappears back towards the lab to go grab a jar. But you're left in this hallway for about 3 minutes as the thing just keeps. It's got a little bit of a slosh sound to it, but then there does seem to be like a scraping noise. And then Waz comes back holding a jar.
Waz, you won't believe it.
What?
Nothing happened.
Damn.
How do you want to do this?
Can you use your shield to scoop it up? I don't want to get my hands dirty.
You can't see an expression, but there's a vague sense of distaste and an insult apparent in the demeanor of this armored person. No, I'm going to just brush it in with the tip of my sword.
That works. I just don't want to touch it.
Neither do I. Not burn.
All right. Well, we'll find something to wipe your sword off later.
I'm just gonna try and prod the thing into the jar with the flat of my blade.
Okay. Give me a dexterity
gonna
check at
hold it.
advantage.
Ooh, that is going to be a wonderful 11.
Okay, yeah. You just let Waz hold the jar nearby, and you flip what appears as you get closer to be the maybe a kidney, and it just into the jar, and you hold it up and look at it, and it does not seem to be moving. But then you hear and when you look down, you can see a rather large, old-fashioned to us, but contemporary-sized key in the muck, sliding very slowly down the hallway.
Oh, so it's the contemporary key that's moving.
Should I get another jar?
No, I still don't want to touch it. Can you hold the jar closer to it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to push it in with my sword.
Okay. You just flick it into the jar, and it is now sitting right on top of the kidney and hitting the glass. Hitting the glass.
It's not cracking at all, is it?
No, it's
Okay.
whatever's moving it. It seems to be slow and constant, but not very powerful.
That's going to get annoying.
I'm not going to explain the kidney.
I don't know how to explain the key.
If they have questions, we'll direct them here. Do you have a lid for the jar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course I brought one.
He just
Excellent. I'll be honest. This is a bit much even for me. There's a lot.
I'd say this, yeah. I have no idea where this path goes, but we should get the others if we're all going to go together.
Yeah. Ko leaves this horrible nightmare realm
back towards the palace or away?
towards the palace.
Okay. We're going to cut up to the throne room before you guys get back. Cleo, you are watching Dill page through this spell book, and as she goes, she's getting closer and closer and closer to it. Stellar and the headmaster, who are standing nearby and at first watching her, see that what usually happens to magic users who get their hands on this book is happening again. And they decide to take a stroll around the throne room. And they are walking in a small circle. The guards are by the doors and keeping an eye on things, but not really looking at anything in particular. They're just on alert because Stellar's here. But as the headmaster and Stellar are walking past one of the display cases and deep in conversation, they walk past another one, deep in conversation. They stop. Well, Stellar does, and the headmaster walks a couple steps forward and then realizes Stellar stopped and turns around and says, "What is it, Summoner Stellar?" Stellar says, "Just a second." And she walks over to the display case that has that tiara in it that used to have a very large ruby on top and now has a piece of gum. And she is looking at the tiara, and the headmaster joins her and they start speaking, and Stellar signals for one of the guards who comes over as well, and they are now taking a very close look at the tiara, and they've actually opened the case and have pulled it out, and the headmaster's pulled some tweezers and is trying to delicately remove the piece of gum from the top of it. What do you do?
I'm gonna slide over to Dill and say, "Hey, we gotta go.
What?
We gotta go. I gotta go."
I think I'm just getting to the good stuff. Just give me a sec, okay?
Well, I gotta go. So if you
Okay.
want to stay, you can, but I gotta go.
Okay, all right. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna nonchalantly slide out of this room.
Okay, why don't you roll your little stealthy stealth.
Okay.
Tiny toes and quick repose, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Move silently, hide in shadows.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's a 9.
Okay. Dill, are you accompanying?
Yeah, I'm just skittering after her.
Okay. What do you do with the book?
I just I took my gloves off, I shut it, and put the gloves on top, and skittering away.
You are about to make it out unseen, Cleo, when Dill runs to catch up to you, and as you are slipping through the door towards the stairs that lead to the laboratory, you see both the headmaster and Stellar turn and look at you, but you close the door and head down the stairs, just as Waz and Bako enter from the back of the laboratory, coming around a bookshelf, and Bako is holding a jar with what looks like a large, wet, red thing in it.
Oh, hello.
Hi. I gotta make like haste and get out of here. Can we discuss this in like somewhere else? Whatever's going on at the what are you holding?
I'm going to assume a kidney and the key I was going to report to Stella before we continue. We could use your help down there.
We have the perfect spot we could all go to.
Where's
right.
that?
I'm going to go report in our findings before we go further, in case something happens.
Okay.
Hi, Waz.
Hi.
I looked at the book.
How did you manage that?
Well, Stellar was being a little stubborn, so I just told her that she was being stubborn and she needs to kind of loosen up, and then she let me look at it. It was so cool. I tell you, I saw so many things, and when I touched it, I felt like this whoosh through me. But I think that there's some really cool stuff in there. I'm hoping that maybe we have some time later, and I can maybe share with you some of the things I saw. It was really cool.
Fern, could you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you look at this kidney for me?
You have a kidney?
Well, everyone has kidneys, but the one in this jar, I mean.
Whose kidney is it? Is that Chambelline's kidney?
We're going to assume so. I think he exploded.
Oh, oh, gross. Oh yeah, sure. Just let me. I forgot my gloves. Okay, well, I just like wipe my hands off my pants,
Okay.
and then I like dig it out of the jar.
The
And
key slides off to the side and kink, lands in the bottom of the jar.
And I'm kind of like rubbing it, massaging it, and just like squishing more of the blood out of it.
So, what's
to
this with the book?
Hold
What?
that thought. To start, Dill, roll discern realities. So that'll be plus wisdom.
Okay. Six.
Okay. You do not, with a failure, you don't get to ask a question, but I will give you a little bit of information. As you are massaging this kidney and Vico asks you a question, you actually forget what he says because you realize in that moment that this kidney somehow is still alive.
Ew. Give me that jar. I need to put it back in. This thing is like, I can feel its vitality. I don't know how else to explain it, but put it back in the jar. Bro,
I hold the jar away. So, what's this about the book?
the book, I got to touch the book. Did you hear? It's so cool. The thing, it's like, it's so ancient, and like it kind of talked to me, and it like connected with me, and then I looked and I looked and I looked, and at first I didn't know what I was looking at. I was so confused, and I thought Waz would just know exactly what this is. I wish he was here, but no. Did that make sense?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
I hold the jar back over to her.
You know, I'm not quite sure if that's Chambelline's kidney. But it might be.
You can't tell?
Mm-mm. I can just tell that there's something still kind of flowing through it.
You are welcome to try and investigate it with magical methods. Your initial just anatomy check did not reveal much.
Do you want me to try my new cast a spell thing to see if I can ask it a question or something?
This would be a place where you could do that.
Okay.
But you'll need to describe to me. So part of this is you are in this moment attempting to use magic to solve this problem. So you can kind of just design what you would like the magic to do, but you will have to describe to me what you have in mind before you roll.
I think I want to know like the sex, like if it came out of a male or female sex, and then if there is any residue of because what would like what oh is there any pickle residue? Was this person eating a pickle? Because I do know that Chamberlain had pickles.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that let's start with those two.
Okay. So with disadvantage, you are going to be rolling to cast a spell.
Okay.
So you roll 3 and get rid of the highest.
Oh, darn it. Okay, I got a 1, a 2, and a 5.
Okay. So you're getting rid of the 5. That gives you a 3. I think your wisdom modifier is only a 2.
2.
Okay. So you fail. So what happens is you
That's
do
a
mark an
1 fail.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do mark an experience. You lean over the jar, which Vico is holding towards you, and you start to cast this spell to try and ascertain the identity and some of the defining characteristics of whoever it was that owned this kidney. And you can see one of it's got like a little valve on the top of it. And as you start to cast this spell, this living organ starts to out of this little valve. What do you do?
I think it's trying to communicate. Hey, are you a dude? Were you a dude?
It says pickle, and then this pickle just squeezes out of this kidney into the jar.
You guys look. A pickle.
I'm not eating that.
Lauren, what the fuck?
Well,
Why would a whole pickle come out of a kidney? How is that even possible?
Did you put a pickle in the? What? Did you put a pickle in there?
no.
What else?
That-
What
this-
else is inside?
You can
Ask
put
if it-
things in it?
Well, I just asked, and this came out, and then I just started nibbling on it.
It
My
tastes
daddy,
fresh.
French crunch. No, tastes good. My daddy always said never waste a pickle. So, I don't know, guys. I think this might be Chamberlain's kidney.
Are we still outside the throne room door?
Yeah.
I imagined you guys were just kind of like you had met in the laboratory. So you guys had come
Oh,
down the
okay.
stairs, and the other two had come from the back, and you're just
Okay.
in the laboratory, kind of like standing next to where that ritual circle was.
Okay. Can I look at the kidney?
Yeah, sure. How would you like to know?
I would like to hide the ruby inside of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Gross. I think you'll just be able to do it, but I want to see if there's a way. Oh, let's make you do tricks of the trade. This says when you pick pockets or disable traps. I also feel like when you are trying to hide the loot, you would be able to use tricks of the trade. So that's a dex roll.
That's an 8.
On a 7 and 9, you still do it, but the GM will offer you 2 options between suspicion, danger, or cost. Do you want this to be suspicion or cost?
Cost.
You can see that the ruby fits in the place where the pickle was, but keeps like squeezing back out. You will need to choose one of your items in order to jam it in there and plug up this hole.
One of my items. Okay.
Something in your possession that you think you could use to stop up a kidney.
Oh no, I only have one thing and it's really important to me.
What is it?
It's the coin. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Tell us what this coin looks like, because I think you're using the coin.
Oh god. It's old, it's copper, it's got an engraved, it looks like 2 fish hooks coming out like opposite of each other, and it's the only thing I have left of my parents that died. The only clue I have to where they are. Or who they
So-
were.
You're all kind of standing around Vico, who's just holding this jar with a kidney in it, and underneath the kidney is that key. Cleo has very carefully pushed this big red ruby in, and it keeps popping out. So she pinches the little valve closed, fishes out this key. You can see this reluctance on her face, but she just puts it flatwise and pops it in the ventricle, and it stops. And it has plugged the hole. You all got to look at the key, the copper key with the fish hooks on it, before she popped it in. But now the ruby is safely inside the kidney.
We need to guard this thing.
Cleo, I have a question.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's just temporary. They kind of noticed the crown, and I didn't get a chance to send off the ruby, so I had to put it somewhere, and, it had a pickle-sized spot, so.
I'm not sure if this is an obvious thing, but don't you think we got to get out of here right now? Because I think they noticed that you stole the ginormous ruby.
They don't know it was me.
Well, they kind of looked at you very suspiciously as we were dashing out.
You were
Whoa.
a known thief. Yes.
Well, now I have nothing on my possession that would make them think that, so.
That just makes you a smuggler. It's a different crime.
I'm smuggling in a kidney. I'm pretty sure there's no law written about that yet.
Isn't
There
the
are
kidney-
several.
But isn't the kidney the smuggler? Really?
That's true. It's technically Shamelin.
As you guys say that, you look down at it and you can see for a second it just like throb.
Oh, God.
You know
It
what?
makes little squeaky noises inside the jar.
Technically speaking, yes. Shyamalan, the person is the one smuggling. We're going to leave it at that. I'm going to tell Solar what's going on before we all evaporate again.
But don't show her the kidney.
I'm not going to reach in and grab it. It's going to stay in here. I don't think she is going to want to inspect a kidney either.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
You all wait down in the lab as Vico up the stairs. Vico, when you enter into the throne room again, you can see that Stellar and the headmaster have resumed their casting of wards on the pedestal that is now housing the spellbook, and several of the guards are examining the case with the tiara more closely. And there are a couple fewer guards here than when you were last here. But you walk up, and Stellar casts a spell, kind of puts a button on something, looks up to you, and steps away very carefully as the headmaster continues the work. And Stellar crosses to you and says, yes, can I help you?
Shyamalan is either missing or dead. We're following a lead on it. We might be gone for the rest of the day.
Okay, thank you for telling me. What the hell is that?
We're currently thinking it's his kidney.
Okay,
I'm gonna spin the jar so she sees the moving key.
it's like, tink, tink, tink. What the hell is that?
A key that was heading out of the castle amidst all of his blood and organs, and the rest of his body scattered around a hallway connected to a laboratory down below.
Nothing that has happened over the course of the last 2 days has made any sense to me. So, bypassing the myriad questions I have about this kidney in this jar, what is the key to?
We don't know yet. We're going to follow it.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Of course.
If you are using some kind of secret passage to exit this palace, I request that you lock it behind you so that no one else can use it to get into this palace. You will, of course, be welcome to come back through the front doors.
Of course. There is also one other risk that I need to make you aware of.
Yes.
Currently, the thought is that Shyamalan was working for someone else, functioning as a smuggler.
Okay.
I'll give you a follow-up on that once I have more information.
Okay. That would make sense. They had access to our laboratory, the complete inventory, and the books which could track any of the items. If they wanted to make anything disappear, they could easily cover their tracks. And if they were the ones who installed this anchor onto our family's spellbook, it would make sense that they would have also had no problem with stealing from us.
Indeed. Please stay safe. And Bako goes to leave.
She nods and returns back and shakes her head and just like immediately snaps back into this meditative state and is casting wards around the spellbook. And Bako, you re-enter the laboratory with the jar and the kidney.
We're free to go.
How did it go up there?
She has a lot on her plate.
We have a lot in our jar.
We have a lot in our jar. Grammar is important.
Yeah.
I want to let this key roll the jar for us. If that makes sense. If it moves by itself, it can roll by itself.
You asking me or you asking the crew?
I'm done the crew.
Okay, as long as it doesn't get out of our eyesight, I'm okay with that.
Sure thing. I'm going to lead the group down to where Waz and I had gotten to.
Okay.
I'm going to turn my light on my shield on and place the jar on the ground.
Okay. What do you do about the little door, the secret door at the back?
I'm going to close it behind. I'm going to ask that someone closes it behind us.
Okay. When you do, you can hear it firmly lock. But yeah, you make your way back to the site of the event. Dill and Cleo, when you get there, Vico shines the light around the hallway and you can see that it is just covered for about 20 feet in gore. And there are larger pieces of this stuff clumped on the ground. And the walls still seem to be moving as the blood continues to drip down it.
Who exploded? Or what exploded?
I'm assuming Shyamalan.
That's an awful way to go.
When you set the jar on the ground, it starts to... it doesn't pick up great speed, but now that it's in this circular thing, with the weight of the kidney kind of flipping around with it, you can see that it's like... and starts going down the hallway away from the palace.
This job is a lot. I'm going to follow it.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing? You tagging along?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not letting that out of my sight.
You follow it for a while, and it's pretty strange, actually, because it gets to these, like... The way that these tunnels start is very primitive, cut through stone. As you get deeper and deeper and deeper into them, they do start to change. The temperature starts to get a little bit colder, and the walls, which have since returned to just stone, not blood-covered stone, they do actually start to get a little bit damp, and you can see that there is water that is dripping down. The floor gets a lot smoother, and there's like T-junctions. Now, as you get deeper and deeper and deeper, you start to kind of get lost in this maze. But as you get to these intersections, the jar stops for a second and then wiggles around and then starts to follow one of the paths. And so it's like left, right, left, right, left, right, 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 left, left, left. And then you are soon lost. But as you get here, you can see that there's a definite shift in the architecture of these tunnels. The walls are no longer raw stone. They're actually bricks. And the surfaces, for the most part, are wet. And then you start to see pipes running along the ceiling. And then one of these small, cramped tunnels opens up into a much wider it is just like a larger tunnel, probably 4 times the size, 2 times as tall, and in the middle there is running water. And you find yourself in what appears to be a sewer. And the jar is now heading very quickly towards the edge of the walkway towards the water. What do you do?
I'm gonna go and try and grab the jar.
Make a dexterity check.
I am right behind him also,
All right.
trying.
8.
You are able to grab the jar, but you continue forward because it has picked up some speed, and you scoop it up in time to get a firm handle on it as you splash into the water. It is sewage. It does not smell great. It does not seem to be primarily sewage. It's as though sewer lines are entering into an underground river. And so there is quite a bit of fresh water that is diluting it, but it does not smell great. Please make a Constitution saving throw.
Great. Is it con?
Yes.
That's gonna be a 10.
Okay, you keep your mouth, eyes, and quickly squeeze your nose and are able to push up and wipe it all off of your face before you open any of these things, and none of it gets into your mouth. You are standing in what's about how tall is Vico?
Vico's about 5'10".
Okay, so you're standing in about shoulder deep water. Your feet are on the ground, and you can feel it rushing around you. The current's not overly strong. But you all have just watched Vico tumble into the water, but you are able to hold up the jar, Vico. You caught it.
Can someone take this?
Yeah, Vico, I got it. I'm so sorry you fell in. It is so disgusting.
And as you get close, and all of you now, it doesn't smell great down here. It's not overwhelming, but there's definitely the undertone of sewage, and this stuff is just getting dumped right into a river that's running underground.
Yeah.
Vico's gonna climb out, and just for a suit of armor, he looks miserable.
Okay.
Can we cast a spell to clean him?
You do not currently have one in your spell book, but this might be another opportunity to use magic. Yeah, I think that this would be a use magic. So you will roll that. You will roll to cast a spell at disadvantage and add your wisdom modifier.
Oh, I got 2 5s and a 4.
Oh, wow.
10, 11.
Yeah, tell us. So at a full success, you use magic to do this. Please paint for us the picture of how you tap into the magic here and make it happen.
Well, I set the jar down and get in my little pouch. I grab like a crystal and I crush it. And then I grab some herbs. And then I just kind of like, am I rubbing them together? And then just kind of like flick it at poor Vico all over his body. And then I tell him to turn around. And I keep kind of flicking it at him as it just kind of starts melting off and just going back into the river.
Yeah, I think that as soon as you flick these particles, they like ignite and turn into these little miniature stars. And they're this glowing powder that just covers Vico, and it peels off until all of the moisture and sewage has puddled around Vico's feet, and then seemingly of its own accord finds its way back into the canal. Please mark 1 success on your use magic. You are 2 closer to not having to roll at disadvantage.
Vico, she can use that on the tunnel back there.
Clean the tunnel.
Sure. Thank you, Fern.
You're welcome. Thank you for grabbing the jar. Here.
Thank you. I want to try and figure out where this key wants to go without letting it roll again.
It seems to be trying to get into the water.
It wants to swim.
What's on the other side of the river?
Another walkway that mirrors yours, and as Vico shines his shield around, you can see that the river is moving slightly downhill, and the tunnel accommodates that, and spaced, on either side, every couple dozen feet, there are similar tunnel outlets to the one that you all walked out of to get here. You appear to be in the sewers beneath the city.
And there's no bridge or walkway across the river.
Oh yeah, there would be they would be stone arches without railings,
Okay.
and they would be about every 50 feet. So you're near one, and then there isn't another one for about 50 feet. But they do just cross over, seemingly for maintenance, because there are pipes on the walls here. Not a bunch, you don't like not what a contemporary sewer would look like, but this is a bit of a more magical realm, and so there is a bit of a technology boost here. So there are several pipes on the walls and a couple on the ceilings, and they're all leaking and they smell disgusting. Some of them you see, the spouts of them are just pouring straight sewage into the water.
Well, we could try crossing to the other side and seeing where the jar wants to go, and if it still wants to go into the water, we could, Rochambeau it for who goes in.
What's a Rochambeau?
Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh. Is there anything else around that could be used as like a raft?
Roll discern realities. Plus wisdom.
That's a 5.
Nothing ready to go. You could maybe try and make something either with magic or by finding things, but there's no ready raft for you. Cleo, do you want to cross the river?
Yes, I do.
You walk to the other side, and it is a similar embankment to the one that you just left. And there's a couple tunnels heading away from the palace and a couple heading back towards, but it seems to be similar to the walkway you were just on.
Vico, do you want to drop the jar over on this side?
Sure.
You go over and put it on the ground, and it starts making its way back towards the water.
What if we tie a string to the key and then just let it float in the water? We could just kind of walk alongside it like you're walking a dog.
Do you have a string?
I probably would as a thief. That's probably...
I think a string is something you could come up with.
Yeah.
A string is not a stretch. You could even just pull one out of your clothes.
Yeah.
Or my robes.
Oh, the robes.
Waz's robes actually have quite a bit of intricate stitching and piping on them. You are all looking, as you say, do you have a string? You all examine your clothes, and Waz's robes are the most obvious choice.
We start pulling strings and gems start falling off.
Might be dazzled. Yes, my strings are yours.
You pull the piping off of one side, and a couple gems do pop into the water, but you hand over the piping, and you have to fish the key out from underneath the kidney, and it is covered in red. And in this moment, you realize you haven't really taken a good look at it, and your hands and it are all covered in blood, as Dill's ready to just tie this string to it. What do you do?
let Fern tie the string to it.
Okay. It's a little slippery because it is still covered in fresh kidney juices, but you're able to put a tie through it and tie the knot.
Want to try to place it in the water next?
I'm going to test how strong the knot is, how strong the string is real quick. Just gonna-
Roll a wisdom check.
Sure. That is going to be a resounding 11.
When you are checking the knot, you see that it is tied exceptionally. It almost looks like a braided lanyard, the reinforced tie that she's put on it. But the other thing you do notice when you are checking this is that the top of the key, not the teeth, has some carvings, and it is engraved, but it is difficult to see because of all the slime on it.
Hmm.
There's something engraved on this upper half here.
What does it
Maybe
look
wash
like?
this off.
Can you, rinse it in the water, but make sure it doesn't slip away.
I wish you had any other suggestion. I grab hold of the string and just plunge it into the water real quick to wash everything off.
It does get washed off quickly, and it smells a little bit sewer-y, but not too bad. And you can now see that at the top of the key, there is what looks like a mausoleum. The door empty, and set into that is a fine, very delicate black gemstone in order to give the appearance of darkness inside the mausoleum.
Do I recognize this symbol?
Is that the
You want
royal
to
tomb?
Spout lore. That's going to be a intelligence roll.
That's going to be a resounding 8.
On a 7 to 9, the GM will only tell you something interesting. It does resemble the architecture of the palace, but you have never, like the way that the door and the pillars next to it and the slant of the roof, like it has a very particular look that the palace architecture does, but you've never seen this mausoleum anywhere, not even depicted in drawing.
I'm going to show this to Cleo. Do you recognize this at all?
Do I? I think maybe.
What would you know about tombs in this neck of the woods?
I'm a tomb raider, so
Oh, for sure. With advantage, roll spout lore.
okay. And that's add intelligence.
Intelligence.
12.
Yeah. You don't know which mausoleum it is, but there are several of these in the Black Dune Cemetery, which
Right.
all pertain to either the royal family or heads of staff that served within the palace. And there's actually quite a few of them that take up an entire section of this cemetery, which is rather large, as it is the principal burial grounds for this city and has been since the beginning. And because it resides outside the wall, it's easy for them to continue to expand it.
Does it also have to? Is it near the empty grave?
What you've heard about the empty grave is that is not necessarily the name of a place, so much the name of an organization.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, it has to do with kind of the royal burial grounds, the grounds for anybody that has any prominence in this area. It would be at the, what'd you say, the Black Dune?
Black Dune Cemetery.
Black Dune Cemetery, which I would like to check out anyway, so I think it would be a good idea to go find it. I don't know that it Could the sewers lead there?
Do you know how to get back?
Possibly.
Cleo
I've got
Scout
some.
lore, I think in your line of work, you might have been in the sewers once or twice. So this will be another intelligence roll, not at advantage.
Not at advantage? Okay.
Not at advantage. Let me make sure I'm not. A 5?
Yeah.
I think that it's possible. You've been down in the sewer several times, often to avoid capture. The few times that you've tried to get anywhere on purpose, you normally end up getting lost because they are quite vast.
I mean, I've got some bacon left over in my pocket. We could leave some crumb trails.
The pipes above,
Mm-hmm.
do they go down the river?
Yeah.
Like with the river?
They seem to just... They seem to be parallel to it. So they are on the ceiling and the walls, but they are, stretching. They are moving in the same direction and moving the opposite direction, as though wherever its source is way behind you, maybe they go that far.
Are there like junction points in the middle? I'm thinking if we use more of the rope and grabbed it and, either let the key guide us from the water, but we wouldn't be in the water, we would kind of swing with it.
You could probably create some kind of zip line like that. You're going to want to
Yeah.
maybe use a little magic to boost it. The walkways on either side of the canal would
Or
also
those.
work, but they wouldn't be as cool. They definitely wouldn't be featured in Meet the Deedles like the movie you just described would be.
I guess
it's
I'd
all
move
about
it up.
how you want to ride.
Yeah. What do we want to do? I mean, we were just going to throw the key in and hold the string and just walk along the side with it. Okay, we can do that then.
Yeah, because we just need to find get into the cemetery access from here, or the mausoleum.
You are able to do that.
I thought we'd just be speedier if we zip lined compared to just walking.
I'm not trying to talk you out of it. You look up at those pipes, you think it might work.
But what does the rest of the group think after I've said this idea out loud to them?
If you want to try this idea, I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to continue walking though.
Cleo?
Look, I'll never say no to an adventure, but also, how long is it going to take to set up? Because we could lose ground. Could you do it pretty swifty?
I'd say 4 to 5 minutes, maybe.
How about we'll keep walking? You set it up, you catch up with us, and then I'll hop on.
Okay. Well, just give me, you decide. You can either just use the ropes and the pipes and roll dex, or if you want to introduce magic into the equation, I will let you roll intelligence. But you will also be opening yourself up to spell complications if you do.
I also can't charm them into this. So no, I'll say this will be another idea for another time. Let's just stay on the ground. Have fun.
The three of them take off as you start to shrug out of your robes and look at the pipe, and a lot goes through your head, and you shrug back into them and catch up. You all, who's holding the string? Dill?
Yeah.
You wrap it around your finger for safety and drop the key into the water. It sinks to the ground and then starts to bob. And then because of the current, it does actually pick up speed. Mm-hmm. There are walkways about every 50 feet that you have to pull the key out of and walk around and drop back in, but it doesn't take long. The key stays in the water and doesn't seem to want to leave. There are several opportunities where the channel itself actually branches off into these junctions and goes down opposite places where some kind of very, very talented engineers years ago cut parts of this open to redirect the water here. But the main river stays in about a straight line. You feel yourself going deeper and deeper underground, and you actually all have a pretty rare experience here in this city. You start to get cold. because you are starting to be what you assume is pretty deep underground. The water picks up current, and pretty soon you're jogging to keep up with this key. You're a little uncertain at first whether it's the current or the key taking you, but when you set the key on dry land to get a read on it, it does continue inching forward. And you follow this, not raging river, but fastly flowing river, until it opens up into a very large chamber, the largest by far that you've experienced here. You can see along the bottom where the walls and the floor meet, there is actually a rime of frost from where the moisture, which is dripping down the sides of the walls, collects at the bottom and it's cold enough down here that it actually starts to freeze. You are standing on the left side of the river, and it has opened up into a very large pool. The only disturbance on the water's surface is where the river meets it. Those ripples quickly die down, and the pool here is mirror black, completely still, with a light bit of chilly mist over the top of it. There is one walkway that you can see which extends over the entirety of this pool. If the river's going this way, let's say north-south, the walkway would be, several dozen feet around this rather large pool and go east-west over the top. And it's just a metal walkway with stairs on either side that's about 6 feet over the water. There is several tunnels that look like this one that are feeding this pool with more streams of water, whether they were the divergent streams cut out or other natural springs, but everything in the sewer seems to end up here. And it is a little bit stinkier here than the other places. What would you like to do?
There's an exit?
There's a couple. There is a similarly sized tunnel directly across. You can just see it as the light from Vico's shield bounces off the surface of the water. That is the only light in this place, and you can tell that you are deep underground and it feels like it. So the light in this chamber is actually Vico's radiant light bouncing off the surface of the water and illuminating the room in a very dim glow. You can just see a gaping black tunnel about the same size directly across the water. I'm just going to put some dimensions to this pool because I'm drawing it so I can keep myself honest. We're going to say the pool is 50 feet across from one side to the other. Then there are two other smaller tunnels where that water is coming out of at the if the tunnels that you came in and the bridge make a cross, there are 4 other entrances that would make an X to that. So now we've got kind of a star shape. And they are also trickling water in here, feeding this pool.
Well, where does the key want to go?
The key goes from the water, the quickly moving water of the tunnel that you just exited. When it makes it to the pool, it sinks to the extent of the string, and you can feel it, Dill, slightly tugging, as though it wants to go deeper.
Can we walk around the pool?
You may. You take off and start walking around. When you get about 25 feet around to the left, you do get to the metal stairs that lead to the walkway which crosses over. In order to get there, you pass by one of the tunnels and have to step over a small stream that is feeding this, but it is significantly smaller than the tunnel you took and the river that you followed to get here. And you are able to make a full circle, passing another small stream, and then the big tunnel mouth that was opposite you. And the water from the stream seems to be flowing in from that way, which is strange. You would think that the river would continue going south, and instead it is now coming the opposite direction, feeding this pool. And you continue to walk around. You pass another stream, and then the stairs, and then a stream, and then you're back to your friends.
What do you guys think? Where are we?
How deep is the pool? I know you said it was 50 feet across, but how deep is it? Can we
How
see
do
it
you
shine a
wanna
light?
You walk up to the edge. I'll kind of paint this scene before I ask you how you want to find out. But you walk up to the edge of the pool, and the stone that you're standing on is maybe an inch above the surface of the water, which is slowly and faintly lapping against the side. The surface of the water is black and mirrored, and the only light in the room is coming from Vico's shield. So, looking off the edge, you have no concept of how deep this pool is. Would you like to try and find out
Yeah.
how?
I have an ability, if that would help.
Yeah.
It says conjure a magical light. Could I take one of the gems or whatever that I have on my robe, put the light in that, and then drop it into the water?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. 2d6, right?
Yes.
With intelligence.
hmm
That is a 12.
Okay. You pop a gem off. What's up with these gems? Are they like
Fake.
real?
They're
Are they-
decorative, but now they have a purpose.
The cubic zirconius.
We'll say they're more like cubic zirconium so that they have a little weight to them.
Yeah.
You pluck it off your robe, and easily you close your eyes and tap the staff, and the gem glows bright. You hold it out over the edge and drop it in the water. And you can see it go down 5 feet, 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, no bottom in sight, 30, and then there's movement and something curls around the light and it snuffs out. There's just quiet in this room. And then raising from the surface of the water, you see 1, then 2, then 5. Large white tentacles coming up out of the water, and in the center of the pool, a much larger shape with a gaping mouth and very, very sharp teeth. And that's where we're going to take our break. Welcome back to Void Jumpers, Sand and Flame. Happy to be this thing. All right, so where we left off, everybody had just entered into the sewer. You'd taken a look around. Waz had enchanted one of the gems from his robes. With light, dropped it into the water. It sank pretty deep before being snuffed out. And 5 white tentacles rose out of the black water, followed by a much larger shape with a gaping mouth and a circle spiral of razor-sharp teeth. Everybody needs to defy danger with dexterity, and I only need to know if you get a full failure, 6 and below.
Yes, full failure. Full failure. Also, that's a level up for me.
Sweet.
Full failure. I got a full failure.
Okay.
I'm good.
Waz?
I got a 7.
That is going to be enough. So, Cleo, you will want to choose your advancement. You will be able to use it in this battle. However, Waz and Vico, giant white slimy tentacles whip out of the water. Waz, you dive to the side. Vico, you step back and put your shield up just in time for it to clong and bounce off. Waz, one of them flies over your head. But Cleo and Dill, 2 of the other 5 tentacles lash out and collide with you. They pack a punch. That is going
We
to be
still have damage, correct? From the exploding book.
Oh, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I had 8 damage from that, so.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. What's your total HP?
16. I only got 8 left.
Well, you just took 6. Both of you just took 6. We did just get a donation. Will it affect this fight? I will be now rolling a trip hazard, because, tentacles, from Voodoo Lou Kerensky. Thank you very much, Voodoo Lou. I will be adding a -1. Let's add it to that damage roll. You will now both take 5 damage instead of the 6. Thank you to Voodoo Lou, who's going to
Thanks,
nerf
Lou.
that blow just
Keeping
a
us
little
alive. Keeping us alive.
bit. The tentacles start to recoil towards the water, and the creature, you see its mouth pulse and its teeth gnash, but no sound escapes. You are still in the midst of this large subterranean chamber, and it is eerily quiet. We're going to start the initiative order in the order which is on my screen. I tried to set it to the one that's on the Twitch screen. Cleo.
Yeah, I'm gonna, since my advance that I just got from leveling up, I chose Fight Dirty. When you backstab, gain advantage on your damage roll. I'm gonna do that.
Give me 1 second here. I'm going to just double check something. I typically, we're just going to make this a house rule, whether it is or not. Whenever I play tabletop games, I typically like to use the Final Fantasy level up system. So the moment you level up, you regain all HP and MP. So Cleo, let's take you to full health, and then you're going to get hit by 5. Because you leveled up.
Okay.
That's just the way that I like to do it. Because when you level up, cool shit should happen.
Yep.
And in this game, you do feel yourself in that moment just like get a second wind, and then clang, you get punched in the face by a tentacle.
Oh.
What would you like to do? It is your turn.
So if I'm gonna, okay, so am I able to sneak around and backstab this mofo without him knowing?
Here's how it's gonna work.
Does he have a back of his head?
You, the way that your ability works, unless you're fighting like Indra, the Hindu god, who's covered in 1,000 eyeballs, you will probably be able to get behind something.
Okay.
However, we are going to do this. First of all, roll. Where's your damn character sheet? I can never remember what that thing's called. Move silently, hide in the shadows.
Okay, we just got donations too.
Let me see. Oh, sweet. Keen456 also donated. Hey, listen. Sounds like we need some bonuses here. What does that give us, Mark? Or Lisa, do you know?
I think that's for the heroes, right? That's the +1s? Plus,
sweet.
or advantage? Who's it go to? Thanks, Keen.
Thank you, Keen. Keen456 with a donation.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to get who's that to, and we're going to add that in. I see
Okay.
Mark furiously typing right now. Anyone. Cleo,
Okay, so
you're going to take it on this roll.
okay.
And the other one's going to go whoever's next, who's going to be Waz.
Okay, so I already have advantage on move silently. You said to roll that, right?
You can bank it, yeah. You could just have one in your back pocket.
Okay, so that one is a 12.
Okay, with a full success, you will be able to sneak to the railing. I think you get popped, and because Vico bounces back to block that, his light shoots up into the sky, buying you enough time to roll backwards into the shadow. You slide into the wall where the frost is collected. But with a 12 on your move silently, you can sneak to the bridge, which will get you close enough to be able to backstab this thing in the head. It is now in the water, coming up out of it, about where the walkway is going to put you kind of in line with its head.
Okay.
And because you rolled a full success, I will also let you attack on this turn. You are now in backstab territory.
Okay, and then I'm going to use Fight Dirty, which will give me an advantage on my backstab.
Sweet. Oh, you fucker. That's what you took for this advance? Okay.
Oh God, it was bad either way. 3 points of damage.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I need to do my attack first, right?
Oh, yeah, you would. Yeah, so forget about that
Alright.
roll you just made. You need a roll to attack.
Okay. This I will use
You have advantage on this.
advantage on. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Keen.
This one's for Fight Dirty. You're still banking that point from Keen. Because you took Fight Dirty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so my backstab, the actual move, that's plus
It's
dex, right?
dex, yeah.
That's a 13.
Okay, that is a full point. There is a list underneath backstab. You get to choose. You get to pick 2 of the things from the list underneath. There's
Oh.
like additional damage and avoiding damage and several of things there. You get to choose 2 and let me know what they are.
Alright. Okay, so it's an additional D4 for.
That can be one of them if you'd like. So you would be rolling a D8 and a D4.
And a D4. I don't think I have a D. I'd have to go grab a D4. That's not in here. Oh,
Little triangle, little pyramid.
yeah, my dice are in a different room, but yeah. I
There's
have
an
one.
easy way to do a D4 that I'll teach you. What do you want your second one to be?
I would like somebody else, an ally, to gain advantage.
Okay. Who? And why?
I would like Vico to gain advantage with his light shining self that hopefully he'll blind it.
So, you flip out your dagger and stab it into the back of this thing.
Yeah.
It is a large creature. Roll your damage. That's going to be a D8. Roll the D8 first.
The D8's at advantage.
Okay.
I think, because that's what Fight Dirty is.
Oh, fuck, yeah. So you did use the point from Keen. I didn't read that right. Yeah. So you got to roll your D8 at advantage. My bad.
Yes.
So
okay.
you use the point of Keen for damage on the attack, and now you are rolling advantage from Fight Dirty for the damage roll.
Okay. I got a 4, and then I need to somehow roll a D4. Do you want me just to roll a D6 and not count anything, a 5 or a 6?
No, you're going to roll a D8 and just cut it in half. That's how you roll half dice.
Okay. 1.5, so 4.5. 5.5. 5.5 is the damage.
What did you roll, a 3?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to round up.
Oh, so 6.
So 6. So you
Okay.
deal 6. Here's what happens. You stick the knife into the back of this creature's head,
Yeah.
and you feel it get slowed down by a thick, rubbery, natural armor. You
Oh.
deal 4 damage to the creature,
Okay.
and feel it and see black blood start to seep from the wound. You definitely get it through, but it seems to have a natural armor. And
Okay.
then you wrench down on the creature's head, barely moving it so that where Vico's shield goes is going to be in its eyes. So when it is Vico's turn, you will have advantage on what you do. But that takes us to Waz.
From my vantage point, can I see if this creature has eyes?
Roll discern realities.
Is that plus wisdom?
It is.
That's an 11.
Okay.
Or 10. A 10.
With that, you can see that the creature does not have eyes. You can also ask me 2 other questions about this creature because you rolled a full success.
Would I have? I wouldn't know about this muddy, mucky armor stuff because I'm not close enough to it to feel it. The rubbery stuff. But does it look like there are any other places exposed other than its mouth?
No, you can. So with the way that this is working, because you didn't fail, you will be able to operate on this knowledge.
Okay.
If you would like to learn about the armor, what you can see from where you are is that there doesn't seem to be any breaks in it. You see Cleo stab a knife and it gets slowed down. And as you're taking a close look at this, you see no eyes and the armor seems to be coating it. It looks less like chitin, like you would see on an insect, and more just like a very thick skin on whatever this very weird, large, white, tentacled creature is. You can ask me one more thing about it.
There are no other openings aside from its mouth.
The only thing you can see is the mouth.
Okay. Is it opening and closing every now and again, or is it just like closed and grumbling now?
It's just a circle, and the teeth are like like moving. Not mechanical. I'm making a mechanical sound, but they seem to be on some weird pivoting boned joints and just like turning. It's like a funnel of razor teeth that move back towards it, several rows.
I would love to magic missile it right in the mouth.
Okay, roll to cast a spell. And you are able to use, if you'd like to, the advantage that has been imbued on you by Keen 456, but you have one in your pocket.
So now I have 2? Or just
if you already had an advantage, then yes.
I don't think I did. Okay. What does the advantage give me?
It allows you to roll 3 dice and to kick out the lowest when you are rolling to cast a spell. So right now you're rolling plus intelligence to see if there's any complications to magic missile.
I got a 7.
That means you have to choose one from the list under cast a spell. For those of you playing along at home, he will either be taking a -1 cumulatively forward, losing the spell after it is cast, drawing unwanted attention to himself, or...
I'll draw unwanted attention.
You can see as you launch these 2 magical missiles out of the top of your staff. Roll damage. It's 2d4.
That is a 7.
You hit it in its side. It takes 5 damage. You can see that even magic is bouncing off of this thing's thick, leathery skin. And though it doesn't have eyes, it does tilt to get its mouth and face, which are now faintly steaming from the light shining off of Vico's shield, and it seems the tentacles to be focusing on you. Vico.
Ew. Okay, so I have advantage. Is this thing a thing of supernatural evil?
No.
No. Who? How beat up does Waz look right now?
Whereas how beat up do you look right now?
I mean, I look disheveled because I lost half my robe, but it hasn't come for me yet. So
The tentacles do seem to be making their way, but they have not yet struck Waz.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, I'd probably be cringing and holding my staff out in front of me to defend.
Gotcha. Where is Cleo right now?
Cleo's actually about 25 feet away from you on the metal walkway that spans the opposite direction of this pool. She is currently standing directly behind the head of this creature with her dagger dug into the back of its skull.
Gotcha. Okay.
And to give you a sense of scale, the tentacles, when they first rose out of the water, were in all sides of this pool, as though they spread to the edges and are at least, 25 feet long each to get from the middle to the outskirts. And the head itself has raised. It was 6 feet from the water to the thing. It has raised past that and is now with Cleo. So it's about, 12 feet out of the water. It is a big old monster.
Gotcha. God, I am worried about people dying around me. Shoot. Would I be able to make it over to Cleo?
I think what that'll entail is, yes, it will probably take your turn. You will need to defy danger with dexterity because the tentacles are lashing out. If you get a full success, I will allow you to act when you get there. Partial will get you there, no damage. Failure is going to make you get hit.
Gotcha. Then I don't want to do that.
I shouldn't tell you guys what's going to happen. I
Probably
should just
not,
make you
no.
try. I'm going to from now on.
I am going to go for, since I can't smite it, I'm going to go for hack and slash.
Okay.
Since I have advantage to roll with that, because that's nice. Let's see here. When you fight in melee or close quarters, roll strength on a 10 plus. Your maneuver works as expected, deal damage, and pick one of the following. We're rolling with this with a +2, and advantage is an extra d6, right?
Yes, and you get to kick out the lowest.
Nice. Nice. All right, that is going to be an 11.
That is a full success.
Yeah, I'm going to deal damage and then evade, prevent, or counter the enemy's attack.
Okay. Roll your damage.
Yeah, we did that. Where is my d10?
Where is his D10?
That's going to be a 9.
Wow.
I know.
You start moving towards Waz and strike one of the tentacles, which is whipping towards him, and you cut it in half. The creature again writhes as though it's going to scream, and it tenses like it is screaming, but no sound escapes. So you can clearly hear the gunk spray of black blood, which covers Waz instead. But neither of you take damage this turn, and the huge chunk of tentacle flops on the ground, and the other stump of it writhes back into the water. The tentacle closest to you has been dispatched. Which brings us to Dill.
So is there still another tentacle heading toward Waz?
There is one more tentacle heading towards Waz.
Okay.
This one seems to be not as close to striking him as the one that was about to slap the shit out of him before Bako cut it off.
Okay. So I think that I need to, well, can I cast a spell? And what do I want to do? I think at first I'm kind of standing and I'm holding the string and I just like lock eyes with Waz. And we're just, and the tentacle is heading to him, and And
It's in slow motion.
yeah, it's like slow motion, and I just like reach out and I start saying no, and then I think I want to kind of like intuitively like put some sort of like Air Force protection around him, like a little air bubble that tentacle would just bonk off of.
Okay. So I think you will need to use magic because you do not have a spell that will immediately grant you a shield.
Okay.
So you will be rolling this at disadvantage plus wisdom.
Ooh, I have 3 6s.
Wow.
Plus wisdom?
Yep.
Ooh, that's 14.
Okay, so mark down another success. You are one step closer to not having to cast that at disadvantage. You all see Dill in slow motion go, "Waz!" And a great outpouring of, it's like that air bubble, but coursing through it are more of those little motes of light, which you saw her crack crystals and herbs and create to cleanse Vico. It's this rush of air and these motes of light as they swirl through the air and then envelop Waz just in time for the tentacle to collide. The shield explodes and everybody's hair whips back from the outpouring of air. However, Waz, you take no damage and that tentacle retreats.
And little heart bubbles just kind of float off after.
Yeah, it's like those little motes coalesce as they are dispersing into little heart bubbles that fade. Cleo, you see all of this. You have pulled your knife out of the back of this thing's head. What would you like to do?
So I only get to use Fight Dirty once, correct? It's not like I get that now forever.
So I think that the way that works is you are able to use Fight Dirty. It is limited by the parameters of backstab. So backstab says when you attack someone up close and they don't see it coming. So in this instance, the creature is now aware of you. You could go to lengths to hide again, but you will probably not be able to do so on this walkway. So if you can get hidden and backstab again, you could use Fight Dirty.
Okay. No, I think I want to use my throwing knives. It's only got 1 tentacle left.
No, it's got 4 tentacles left.
Can I just throw a knife to each tentacle?
You could throw a knife to 1 tentacle, I think.
No, I'm gonna go for the brain again.
Okay. Just to stab it?
Yeah, but with pizzazz.
Well, obviously. I wouldn't even think for 1 second that you wouldn't be stabbing it with pizzazz.
Okay.
I think you're just using hack and slash, but do you get to use dexterity?
With just I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that the reason you try and get into a position to backstab is when you backstab, you are using dexterity to attack.
Hack and slash. Yeah, don't. Where is hack and slash?
Hack and slash is just a basic move. It says specifically roll strength.
Yeah, I'll use I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll like stab it and do a fancy like handstand and then like whip off.
Okay.
That's my plan.
You jump off of the railing onto its back, hit it, and backflip. Give me just a dex check to start.
Oh, so just regular roll.
She rolls
plus dex. 8.
Okay, you are able to do so. Your kick off of it is a little slippery, but you do manage to catch yourself. Roll to attack. Hack and slash plus strength.
Oh, that's strength?
Yes.
Oh.
That's where it gets a little tricky.
6.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Not great for you.
No.
You actually slip off without dealing damage and catch yourself on the railing. You don't have a chance to stab it before a tentacle whips out and hits you, and you go flying through the air and bloop, drop into the water. You are going to take some damage.
Okay.
That is going to be a 4 + 3, 7 damage. And you have the wind knocked out of you, and you go sailing through the air, and all of you lose sight of Cleo as she splashes into the water, maybe 15 feet behind the creature. The creature is now between you and Cleo, who's in the water. Waz.
I want to, I can shout and Fern can hear me,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And so you were about to get slapped by 2 tentacles, but because
Again?
Vico
there's still
cut off
two,
one
there's
of
still
them
one.
and Dill used her turn to shield you, you now are not going to be taking damage, and you have a moment to yourself if you would like to shout before you do stuff.
I want to shout to Dill to throw the key into its mouth and then use my staff to magic missile the 2 incoming tentacles.
Okay. You shout it. Let's hear it.
Dill, throw the key into the mouth when it opens.
Okay, Wes.
You look at the mouth, Dill. It has never closed. It's just this buzz saw of teeth. And roll to cast a spell, Wes.
This is a 9.
You will again need to choose a complication in your list under cast a spell.
I will, I'll still, I mean, let's take the attention.
Okay. You point the staff and 2 more blasts of arcane energy erupt. Roll your damage, 2d4.
Am I able to, will one hit each tentacle, or is that up to you?
That's up to you.
Oh, okay. I mean, I would, if I see 2 coming, I would have probably tried to direct a missile towards each.
Sure.
2d4, that is 3 and a 4.
Okay. You see that each tentacle that takes the blow continues forward now that it's seen you casting the spell again and you're drawing attention to yourself, but they do look as though they like blister and pucker and twist in the air. They seem to have taken that damage and are moving less confidently towards you, but they are still mid-attack and whipping your way. Vico.
Oh gosh. Okay. I guess I'm gonna keep attacking this thing, but God, I'm gonna rush over to Cleo. I have to.
Okay. Roll Defy Danger plus Dex.
Oh, of course you would say Dex.
Well, you're dodging tentacles.
I'm aware. I'm also aware which stats I have a 0 in. That is going to be a 9.
Okay. You are going to take some damage, but you are going to get there. A tentacle whips out of the water and hits you for 8 points of damage, nearly knocking you off your feet. You tumble to the side, regain them. Oh, because your armor?
Armor.
Nice. And you crash into the wall, taking the brunt of it with the metal, and then sprint the rest of the way, sliding. You are now on the side of the pool, looking, and you see the ripples where Cleo went in, but you do not see Cleo. She is underwater. What do you do?
I'm gonna dive in.
Okay. I'm going to need you to roll Defy Danger with Strength at disadvantage because you are wearing, as discussed, very heavy armor.
It's not heavy armor. It's just a breastplate and a shield, not like full plate.
You're still swimming in it.
You said disadvantage?
Mm-hmm.
What does that
But
mean?
you roll 3 and get rid of the highest, but you do still get your strength modifier.
Okay, neat. That is going to be 5, 5, and 3.
So you ditch one of the 5s, which gives you an 8. And what's your strength mod?
2, so 10.
So full success. You dive in gracefully and plunge into the water. With the light of your shield forward and guiding you, you are able to see Cleo's sinking form as she is nearly unconscious from the blow that knocked her under. You will need to, both of you, make a constitution check. I keep calling them saving throws, and I'm going to continue to do so. A constitution saving throw. You're just rolling your con mod. 2. You, in seeing this light, instinctively open your mouth to call to Vico and are just swallowing sewer water. You will be rolling with disadvantage the next time you need to make any check. Vico, what did you roll?
Full 12.
You keep your mouth closed and keep swimming. Dill, you've just watched Waz shoot some magic missiles and the tentacles are coming at him. And Vico run around the side of the pool and dive in after Cleo. What would you like to do?
Snook, did I throw the key into the mouth?
You did not. You were instructed to, but that is up to you.
So am I still twirling it?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Gosh. I think that I'm gonna take my dagger and just kind of like throw it in the mouth and see if it, instead of the key, just throw that dagger in and see if it like does any damage inside the throat of body or, you know, airway.
This will be considered a volley, so that's a ranged attack. You will roll plus dex.
Okay. And that's 2d6?
2d6 plus dex.
Okay. 5, 2, 1, so 8.
Okay. You will be dealing damage. So first of all, roll your damage die. I believe it is a d6.
Oh, okay. Just 1.
1 point of damage?
Wait, sorry. Just 1d6.
Yes, 1d6.
I got 6.
Oh, wow. Full damage. Okay. And then you will need to choose one of these options. You have to move to get the shot, placing you in danger. You can opt to just not have to deal with anything else, but roll damage again and take the lower result. Or deplete your ammunition.
The ammunition that I just threw in, like my dagger. I think I want to, what's the first one? Put myself in a different position.
Yeah.
But then I still get to like throw it in.
You still get to deal your damage, but you have to move in order to do so.
Okay, I'll move.
Okay. So you deal 4 damage because it has some armor. You see the dagger fly perfectly. In order to get this shot, you find yourself running sideways because it is turning to face Waz, and you have to run over in his direction before you flick the dagger. It arcs and clang, 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 clang into this like funnel of teeth, and then sticks in, and you see the teeth stop moving, and the dagger is just placed like stuck in the gums, and the thing is going crazy. However, you have slid over to Waz, who had placed himself into danger, and nobody had addressed that yet. And so you are both going to get hit by the tentacles, which were whipping his direction. In moving over here, you put yourself in range. Oh my. Well, I'm rolling a d10, and I just rolled a 9, and then I'm adding 3 to it. So you are both taking 12 damage as the tentacles and knock you both off of your feet.
So about that.
Yes?
That puts me at a -5 HP.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we are all apt right now.
Yeah, because we didn't rest.
What are you talking about? I am personally fine.
It's all going to come down to Vico.
Waz, you did choose sparkly magic-y robes for one of your advancements. Have you been
Enchanted
tracking?
robes.
Okay. Have you been
And I have
tracking?
amulets and talismans.
Okay. Have you been tracking the damage negation that's doing?
No, I do have 2 armor though.
Okay.
From my advance with Arcane Ward.
Okay. So that would have been taking 2 off of each of these, but at a -5, I still don't think you would be back up to fighting shape necessarily. When a creature is reduced to 0 HP, they are out of the action, dead, unconscious, cowering, etc. You are knocked off of your feet and are flung backwards, clinging to consciousness until you collide with the wall. And the lights go out, Waz, and you slide to the ground. Dill,
I'm out
you
too.
are punched by this tentacle as well, and are flung backwards and hit the wall next to Waz, sliding down, and you see that the lights are out on him. Cleo, you are sinking and see a light coming towards you, but you just swallowed a bunch of sewage. What would you like to do?
Swim towards the light.
Okay, you're going to need to roll to defy danger with strength at disadvantage because you just ate poo-poo water.
Defy danger, I'm at advantage, so those just cancel each other out.
They do.
Okay. Come on. This has been... double 6s.
Wow. Okay, you are able to swim towards the light and make it to who you now see is Vico, swimming kind of forward boogie board style with a shining shield in front of him. And you make it to Vico. What would you like to do?
Grab onto the shield and start swimming up. I feel like I'm a pretty good swimmer.
Okay. You do. Vico, should you try to swim up, you will get advantage from Cleo. Waz, you will be using a rule that A, scares the shit out of me, and B, we've never used. It's called Last Breath.
Let's go, baby.
When you are dying, you catch a glimpse of what lies beyond the black gates of death. Describe it.
Oh. I would imagine the first creature that we saw, the first guy that was leading the skeleton army, almost like beckoning me in.
Okay.
Like putting his arm out as if like join me at my side.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So you're in this place that feels rather large, though you can't see much else other than a tall wrought iron fence that is well kept and glazed black. There are rather large gates that have swung open before you. And then walking out of what you can now see is a clouded, difficult to discern the specifics of cemetery of some kind. Though you can see the outlines of tombstones and what appear to be larger mausoleums, even some sarcophagus that are like up on daises. There's no ground. There's not like grass around these things or mounds of earth. They just seem to be placed in this nebulous environment. And walking out of those gates, as though to greet you, is that skull-faced necromancer. And when he extends his hand to you, the one that was sliced off by Cleo, you can see that it is a gilded skeletal hand socketed in by some kind of clockwork to the wrist. And he beckons you forward. You are going to roll plus nothing.
Just 2d6.
2d6. Give me just a sec before you roll these fuckers so I can read the rolls here.
I'm scared.
Oh, Wes.
We've never lost a party member. Oh wait, we did lose one, but that was just one.
Okay. You will be rolling plus nothing.
Let's go.
9.
Excellent. On a 7 and 9, Death will offer you a bargain. The necromancer can see that you're conflicted, and so they drop the gesture of beckoning and rather casually walk up to you. And they say, I knew that we would meet again, though I did not expect it to be so soon, nor in this place. How are you, wizard?
Already looking for a way out.
Interesting. He holds up his hands, one of which is this gilded skeletal hand. And this close, you can see that it is a combination of human bone, metal workings, and clockwork to fully articulate it. And it is, it looks like the stump that Cleo created on his wrist has been capped with some kind of socket, equally as intricate, which gives him full mobility. And he holds up his hands and says, unfortunately, those who find their way here very seldom leave again. And starts to cast a spell, but very quickly stops and says, interesting. You have the taint of that power which turns life into true death. You know of what I speak.
I do.
As he's looking at you, you can see that his eyes are dead like a shark's eyes. And when he speaks, the way that the skull has been painted onto his face appears to be speaking to you in the way that a skull would. And he moves the muscles in his face very little to accentuate this illusion. You can see now that there's quite a bit of pageantry here. And he says, how did it feel when you tapped into that power and wielded the essence of life to your will?
I didn't like the lies.
The lies? Tell me.
I was misled into using that power.
Interesting. How so?
People like me aren't supposed to use that, no matter how good we think we can wield it.
That is what they taught you at that school. And since you have left, how many of their teachings adequately prepared you for this life that you lead?
I say nothing and look away.
Interesting. Perhaps they were wrong about something.
It's not my place to find out.
Well, wizard, I, for the time being, have procured the position of gatekeeper for this realm. It is a fleeting position that I hold, but one which will culminate in something more worthwhile. Until then, however, I am the steward of souls which leave this place, this city of ours, which we call home. There are other gates in other cities, but I am in control of this one. If you would like to ignore the truth about this world and the magic that you abuse, you are welcome to stay here and retire. There is a place for you. And he gestures backwards with his skeletal hand, and a light appears, like a spotlight, but there's no source visible to you, over a grave which is empty. Or you can see what it means to wield true power and use it to escape this place for as long as you wish. But the choice is yours, wizard. There is no turning back once it is made. Perish forever, or return to make great change.
I've seen what your magic does, especially to my friends. And I want no part of it.
There. Might I offer one last piece of this puzzle? You've seen what this magic does when those who wield it are unfamiliar and lack control. Like all sources of magic, including those which are taught to you at the academy, you know in your heart that there is cost, there is consequence, and there is danger. And I would suspect that you know from the early days of your time at that academy the restrictions placed on the new students to ensure that the welcome spells were not abused nor used to hurt one another, or, in instances of great tragedy, take the life of those. Would you agree? Now, what if, as part of this bargain, I offered you a deep, deep beginning to an understanding of how to ensure this magic did not hurt your friends?
Who will it hurt instead?
There is a price to all magic. You will be able to choose, and always, as is the case when messing with the arcane, offer yourself as a buffer to protect those around you. The only true danger can be prevented by offering yourself as shield.
I accept.
Wonderful. I fear that I may regret this decision in time to come, for I do realize it does not make us allies, though I am curious to see where your path now leads, and if I need worry so much in the future. But what is life without chance? He reaches into his robes, which you can see now are very, very well made and thick fabric and probably offer some form of protection. And he produces a rather small, what looks like paring knife. The handle appears to be made of bone. The blade, some form of sharpened stone, not metal. And he reaches out and says, "Your hand." And then he slices your palm open, and you've just enough time to see blood start flowing out before you are in the sewer again, sitting next to Dill, who hears you gasp. And when you raise your hand, you are holding that knife, and your palm has been slit open. Vico, you are in the water. Cleo is trying to get you to swim up. What do you do?
I am swimming up.
Okay. Roll Defy Danger with Strength at advantage. As she is kicking away.
Could I roll a defend? Can I roll defend instead of defy danger?
Tell me more.
Defend is you take up a defensive stance or jump in to protect others. Roll con. 10 plus, hold 3 readiness. 7 or 9, hold 1 readiness. You can spend readiness 1 for a couple of different things.
Okay. Yes, but then we will assume that as you are swimming, the tentacles underwater are starting to come towards you. And so this will be more about reaching the surface safely as you are being attacked than straight swimming. And we can say that the initial kick upward can come from Cleo.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to count that. That is going to be a resounding 10. Thank fuck. Yeah.
Okay, you can hold 3.
Yep, holding 3 readiness. And I guess we're going up.
Okay. Does being a paladin allow you to do anything additional with this move?
Let's see here. When you defend, I roll charisma instead of con, and I have 2 more things that I'm allowed to do when I expend readiness.
Okay. So you do see attacks coming towards you. One of you is going to have to take a blow from a tentacle. Would you like to use one of your readiness to do anything about that?
Yep. I'm going to draw all attention from my ward to myself.
Okay. The attack's coming through to you. It's going to be 9 damage.
I'm going to have that.
Okay, so that's going to be, we'll round up 5.
2.
Oh yeah, because you got that armor. You are swimming. Cleo is ahead of you. You hold the shield up in time to have the tentacle hit it instead, but it does hurt your fucking arm, and you manage to keep swimming. You have 1 readiness left.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to use it to do?
Let's see here. I'm going to keep hold onto it in case one tries to attack Cleo again.
Okay.
Or if one comes again, I'll have it on standby.
Cleo first, and then spitting water out of her mouth, and then Paladin second, Vico second, break the water. It is a bit harder for you to keep up there as you are weighed down a bit by the shield and the armor, but the 2 of you start swimming towards the shore, I imagine?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll say you will arrive there next turn, but the creature is now turning to attempt to get at you as Dill and Waz are no longer really causing a fuss. Dill.
Am I like out, or am I, you know, like, do I still have the ability to do anything, or am I just kind of like flopped across the ground?
So long as you didn't reach 0 hit points, you are able to take a full turn.
Okay, I think I reached 0 hit points.
Really?
Yeah.
You will also need to roll Last Breath, as you find yourself in a very similar position to the one Waz was just in, standing outside a cemetery in a very dark, nebulous place with a wrought iron fence and open gates, and out walks the necromancer whom you tangoed with. You are going to roll 2d6 and add nothing to them and tell me what you rolled.
I rolled a 6.
Roll 1 more d6, sorry. You're rolling 2.
3.
A 9. Okay. The figure approaches you, Dill, and very similarly to the way Waz was just greeted, introduces himself and explains that he is the gatekeeper for this particular city's passage to the underworld. Give me just a second. I can see that you are one in tune with nature, and as you know, there is no more forgiving force than nature itself. I've recently spoken to someone close to you and offered them a bargain to leave this place. Though, and he starts to cast a spell and actually completes it, and you can feel a wash as this like purple, green, black smoke washes over you for just a moment. And you inhale it and you can kind of feel it coursing through your body. In that same way that when you touched the book, there was a spark that coursed through you. This seems to be the opposite. Rather than giving, it is taking. And he says, yes, you have not yourself experienced the wonders of the arcane battery that is the body. Instead, I can see that you spend a great deal of time preventing death rather than welcoming it, healer. I offer you an interesting bargain, one that I might find amusing as I watch from afar. Would you accept a second chance at this life if it meant that you carried the shadow of death with you, and that when you opened yourself up to magic, there was a small chance that it might be tainted by that shadow of death?
Is that my only option? Like, I'm not a big fan of shadows following me around, but like, I mean, I guess if it was just a little one, I would be okay with that.
It would not be a guarantee. You would just want to make sure that you hold on tightly whenever you cast a spell, because if your grip on it slips at all, there is a chance the darkness will emerge. There's not a lot of oversight here, you understand. I've only got one boss I'm answering to, and they're interested in only one thing. So as long as I keep a lid on it, I can kind of do what I want. And this bargain that I'm offering you is simply for my enjoyment, and it is your only option. Let me remind you that if you do not accept, you will perish for all eternity right now.
Well, with all due respect, sir, I do not like you, but I will accept your weird bargain because I got to get back to Waz. He still hasn't filled out the check thing, the paper, and I'm really hoping that he checks yes.
You might not like me, but I get a kick out of you, sister.
Most people do. Well, you're not a people. You're like a dead, gross thing, but still.
May I see your hand? He gently takes your palm, and you watch as he reaches into his robes with that skeletal clockwork hand. He produces a small black gem. He places it in your palm, sticks a finger on top of it, and applies pressure, and then mumbles just a few words before the stone goes into your palm, and you kind of gasp awake at the same time Waz does, who's holding a bloody palm and a knife, and you are holding your hand, and you can see just the faint impression of the stone that is now under your skin. When you roll to cast a spell or use magic, if you roll a full failure, this bargain will always take effect. So we will want to be aware of that. Cleo,
Yeah.
you make it to the shore with Vico pulling himself out after you. You are sopping wet, and the creature seems to be swirling around with its tentacles, unsure of what it wants to do. It does not look very happy, and it seems to have suffered quite a few wounds at this point.
Has the key been thrown to it yet?
No, you see Dill sitting against the wall, one hand up, the key in the other.
Twirling.
Bako, thank you so much for saving me. That was horrific. Appreciate that. We can keep hacking this thing, but do you think that it just wants the key?
I have no thoughts on the matter.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
I keep getting covered in sewage. I'm covered in bandages. It's seeping in.
Ooh, those are gonna take a while to dry out.
Monster in front of us. Do any ideas you have?
I'll try to. Does it have eyes?
It does not.
It's just a hole.
It's just a hole. And you
With
can see that
teeth?
its teeth are like kind of jumping the gears as there's a dagger stuck into them and just spurting black blood. And again, no sound is coming from this thing. So you all are in this large, echoey chamber as this giant creature thrashes around, silently screaming, and you can hear every spurt of blood and slap of water.
I think it just wants the key.
Well, can I throw it to you?
Sure.
Not on Cleo's turn. Cleo, it is your turn.
Can you come get it?
Can I come get the key to
You
chuck
can.
it in the mouth?
You will need to roll Defy Danger plus Dexterity as you try to navigate the tentacle whip space.
11.
You make it through without suffering any damage. You jump over one, roll under another, and slide under the last as you make it to Dill and scoop the key out of her hand. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna look at it and I'm like, is this what you want, you mother sucker?
All right, you will be rolling a ranged attack. That'll be plus Dexterity.
9.
You need to you either have to, so you're going to throw this thing. It seems to be on target, but you will either need to move and put yourself into danger in order to get it in its mouth, or the other options don't really apply.
It's fine. I'll put myself in dangerous ways. It's what thieves do. Let's do
Okay.
it.
You have to slide back into the tentacle field. You take a hit. That is,
Okay.
that is going to be 8 plus 3, 11 damage. As you are slapped by this
I'm dead.
tentacle.
By a lot.
Fly backwards, smash into the wall, and let go of the key. You all watch it as it just clink, 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 gulp, into the monster's mouth. Cleo, you slide down the wall, lights go out. Waz, you see this monster lurching out of the water, tentacles thrashing, approaching your friends. What do you do?
Ooh. The cut on my hand is still fresh, isn't it?
Yeah, and it doesn't
bleeding and
hurt.
everything?
It actually tingles, and you feel power coursing through your arm.
Oh. Did this unlock anything? This deal that I made? If I was to put that hand out in front of this attacking creature.
Why don't you roll to cast a spell? At advantage. as you stick, the reason you are getting advantage is because you are placing that out.
Okay. So you're saying, well, could I have my staff in the other hand and be, holding the hand and then do the magic missile, or
you can cast it however you want. You trying to just put them close to each other and then cast magic missile?
All right. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm doing.
Roll to cast a spell.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, it ate the key and it didn't do anything?
It just went clunk, 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 gulp down its mouth.
God damn it all. That would be a 7.
Okay. So there's going to be rules about how this works. What's your damage dice?
2d4.
Give me just a second here. So this is what happens. You extend your hand and your staff to cast what you are visualizing as magic missile. Time, as these tentacles are writhing and spiraling towards you, slows down. Everything in the room gets slow. You see Cleo hit the wall next to you and slide down in slow motion. Dill is standing there, having just handed off the key, looking wide-eyed as 2 tentacles are flying towards her. Vico is just turning around, shield and sword up, aware that he will not be able to make it in time to interfere. And as you are standing there, you see this figure appear next to you. And you can see that it's the skull-faced necromancer. He turns to you, moving at regular speed, and just like a bad dream, you can feel yourself locked into slow motion. He said, a big part of the deal here, and I realize that it was the only reason you agreed, was that I offered an understanding of how this is all going to work. Now, there will always be a danger when using magic. If you ever feel your grip slipping on a spell, chances are it will reach out to find a battery to stabilize it. In those instances, when you lose control, that will be the only time your friends will be in danger. And as I said, you will have the opportunity to sacrifice yourself instead. When you have partial control on a spell, as you do now, and he points to your hand, and in that moment, the blood starts pouring out of your hand. You're casting magic missile, so that's 2d4. It's a 3 and a 4. You take 7 damage as a gallon of blood starts feeding into your staff. And he says, you're the battery. And you just go, ooh, ooh, and these huge blasts of magic missile erupt out of your staff. Roll 2d8 damage and add your intelligence modifier because you just used blood magic to fuel the spell. You will up your damage dice by 2 and add your int modifier when using blood magic.
Okay, so I have a 9 plus 2 intelligence, which is 11, and then you said there was more?
No. 11. You roll 2d8 plus your int. Okay. Instead of rolling the 2d4, which is your usual dice, you watch as these fucking novas explode out of your staff and spiral through the air, like boring through tentacles, which are just falling off. Dill, you just get covered in black blood as one of the tentacles next to you explodes. And you, Vico, because Cleo, you are a little unconscious.
I'm way dead.
You see these 2 big ass magic missiles, no longer little bolts of blue arcane energy, but instead massive black fireballs collide with this creature. There's just a moment where he says, "And if you keep a hold on the spell, nothing's gonna stop you." And the creature just fucking explodes, blasting black ichor everywhere in the chamber. And when you are back, Waz, time has resumed, and that figure is no longer next to you. And all of you see for just a moment the key into the water and start to sink. We cut to a black space, a cemetery with well-preserved wrought iron fences and a large gate which swings open. And a skull-faced necromancer walks out and says, "Busy night." Blackout.
Yeah. Thanks for not making me roll this tonight. My rolling's been terrible.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I would have let you die, Waz. I wanted to give you one more chance
Well,
to
the way
reconsider.
the way you kept talking, I was like, he doesn't want me to die. So
I would've let you.
But
For like a one shot, did you really want to roll a new character for 2 more sessions?
Well, the thing was you did say empty grave, and part of me thought, oh my God, if they end up surviving and going there, would they have a way to resurrect me at that empty grave? That was what I thought. And I would have DM'd you about that and been like, hey, you said empty grave here. There's an empty grave that they've been seeing.
We haven't done much real combat in this game, and so I used build a monster on the fly method that's in the book of Homebrew World. And there's just like a list, and it tells you like how to create a monster. And so based on how you answer certain questions, it tells you to add HP or subtract it. And based on how you answer certain questions, it tells you what dice to use and how much damage to add to those rolls. That thing fucked you guys up.
Yeah, it did. I died by like 8 points. 8 points past my hit points.
I'm fine.
You've yet to be touched in this campaign, I think, Vico.
It's great.
With your boogie board of light.
It's great. I don't know what's going on with y'all, but I'm fine in my little metal crunch wrapper.
Covered with poop.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
remind me. Oh, it's all up in there.
Well, that was fucking great. I think that's all we got. Lisa, you want to pull the parachute on this thing and take us home?
Sure. I don't know what we were doing about questions.
That's Andy. I made him do it, and I stopped thinking about it.
Yeah, and I forgot. Well, I don't think anyone posted anything anywhere, did they?
Anybody want a question answered? You have until the end of Lisa's outro to get us a question in chat, and Mark Thomason is going to type it to me and Andy will do something with it.
Cool.
All right, Lisa.
Thanks for hanging out. This was wild and unexpected, and I've never been in an RPG stream with so many deaths. So I just never know what's going to happen on Void Jumpers this arc, apparently. So thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you, Mark, so much for running the tech, as always. Mark is the one that goes to a studio and is not in the comfort of his own home. So thank you so much for running that for us. Thank you for you, the audience, for hanging out. Thank you for the donations that came in from Lou and Keen. You saved us. Absolutely. And, we do have a question. Do you want me to, is Andy reading that?
We'll let Andy read it.
Okay, then I'll go through my outro. If we could just have everybody say where they can be found. I'll just go first so you don't have to come back to me. I'm Lisa Coronado. You can find me on Twitter until it's not here anymore, at Lisa Coronado. I'm also on Instagram, Lisa Coronado 16, and I'm on Twitch. I'll be streaming through December. a bunch of horror games, probably with Andy at Hey Smalls. Smalls has a Z at the end. And then Andy, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on twitch.tv/ArmoredAndy. I do a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 roleplay, as well as causing trouble with Lisa and usually screaming more than you, I think, in some of these scary games. I also mess around on Twitter a little bit too while it's still here before it implodes. Same name there, Armored Andy.
Paladin?
Yeah, you can find me on Gaia Online in MySpace. Under HD Paladin, because I guess Twitter's dying.
Yes.
On just the most, it's at a breakneck speed of dying in terms of social media platforms. It's the Usain Bolt of speeding towards. Anyways, yeah, you can find me on Twitter for now, Instagram, at some point Twitch. Yeah, and I guess Tumblr. I have Tumblr. Yeah. I'm just thinking about how fast Twitter's dying these days, but who isn't?
Lisa?
Thanks again, everyone, for hanging out. This was a lot of fun, and my first time almost dying. Well, I mean, I kind of stepped into death, but come find me on Instagram because I'm really not on Twitter. So I'm at Lisa Levan. There's some underscores in there, but you can find me.
And Jesse?
I'm Jesse. I'm writing down rules for blood magic right now so that when Andy rolls, there will be rules for blood magic. You can find me at Twitter while it's still up at Jesse_Keeter. That's where I am. And here every Thursday with you fuckers.
Friday.
Oh, Friday.
So the question we have is, what's next?
I think I know how to interpret this. I think everybody should quickly predict what's going to happen next time. What's next? And you just get a guess. And it's not going to start with me. Though I will take a turn.
You mean on the next episode?
What's going to happen next? Let's just say, yeah. A lot of shit just happened. What's going to happen next?
I'm going to fail my death roll and I'm going to die. That's what I think is going to happen.
I hope not.
I'm going to figure out how much HP I actually have because I did take another 8 damage after I came back to life.
Oh,
but
you and Dill would have been full HP. When you
full
came
HP.
Back
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
you get stuff for making a deal with the devil.
I really think this feels so Anakin Skywalker. Is it possible to learn this power? It feels like he's going down a very dark path, and it might be either up to his friends to pull him out or take him out.
A very stern talking to.
Fair.
2 very stern talkings too.
I think there's going to be a deeper connection between Dill Fern and Waz the Wizard, and I think that there's going to be moments where we're both kind of getting sucked into, or I see him getting sucked into the darkness, or he sees me. Because am I going to be sucked into darkness or tempted by darkness?
Darkness.
Because we both went to, what's this thing in my hand?
You had darkness sucked into you, literally. So, well, I don't know. Waz might still be slightly judgmental because he asked her to throw in the key and did not. So he may be a little distant still.
That actually transitions quite nicely into my prediction of how I think y'all are going to have a really fun conversation about what to do next when you realize that your only lead just got thrown into a bottomless sewer.
They haven't invented scuba gear yet, have they?
No.
Shit.
You guys are welcome to use magic to try and solve that, but
we could discuss this all over pickles provided by our nice handy liver, or what is it, our kidney?
Yes.
Our kidney pickle dispenser.
What can we do with that ruby? Can we buy information with our jewel that we're carrying around?
That's up to you.
I told you it would come in handy.
Yeah.
All right, Coronado, get us out of here.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back next Friday. We have 2 episodes left. Come join us 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Ooh.
Bye.